Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is a fantasy film directed by David Yates. It's a prequel to the much beloved Harry Potter franchise and takes place some 70 years or so before Harry Potter ever had a broomstick between his legs. So this film is about a character named Newt Scamander, and as a side note, can I just say I would really love my surname to be Scamander, because then I'd be Dan Scamander, and I would have an awesome song by Electric Six named after me.
You must have been the dance commander, giving out the order for fun. You must have been the dance commander, you know that he's the only one who gives the orders here.
And getting back to the story, so Newt travels from Hogwarts to 1920s New York, where he's on a mission to set a fantastic beast loose, a fantastic beast that he has many of in his amazing magic briefcase. However, due to these beasts' mischievous nature, they get loose and scurry about New York, and he's got to go and try and find them, some of which are invisible. Imagine going around the streets trying to find invisible creatures. Oh yeah. In the meantime, there's a dark, mysterious force tearing up New York City and causing havoc, and Newt gets in trouble with the magical wizarding community, and there's some non-magical people who become part of the plot, and it's a big adventure. Now, David Yates was responsible for quite a few of the Harry Potter films, arguably the best ones in the series, and it was always really interesting to see what he was going to bring to this, being that it was a Harry Potter film without Harry Potter. But J.K. Rowling created such an amazing and lavish world that, let's face it, you could have all sorts of stories told from it. And so it was very interesting to see a Harry Potter story with different characters set in a different place and a different time, and for the most part, it really worked. This was a fairly solid film with a really good story and amazing special effects. It didn't quite have the fun and adventure of the Harry Potter series, but look, I don't think it's fair to actually compare this film to the Harry Potter films, because you could easily see this without having seen any of the Potter series. It is very much a standalone film. Eddie Redmayne gave a great performance as Newt Scamander. I just loved his childlike innocence and sense of wonder, and also his affinity towards animals. I mean, there was a theme underlying in the film about, you know, how sometimes we fear certain animals just because we don't understand them, and I really dug that about the film, and it was something that I could relate to. Catherine Waterston played a character named Tina, who was kind of the wizard community equivalent of the FBI, and at the start takes Newt in because of his reckless use of magic in amongst the Muggle or no-mag society. But I really loved Dan Fogler as a character named Kowalski, who essentially was the audience character. I mean, he was the no-mag or non-magical person who had to have everything explained to him in order for us to understand, but I loved his performance. I just really dug his character. He was quite funny, and a good balance between Newt and this guy, like the way the two of them interacted with each other. It was quite a joy to watch. But one of my favorite supporting characters in this film was Queenie, Tina's sister, played by Alison Sudol. There was just something about her. She was this flirty, bubbly, ditzy kind of a character who could read people's minds, which was interesting, but there was just something about her that lit up the screen every time she was on there, and I absolutely loved watching her. And naturally, being such a special effects heavy movie, the 3D was put to amazing use. Aside from scenes of buildings being destroyed and put back together and a lot of dazzling stuff like that, there were several moments where a lot of time I flinched with things coming out of the screen. The actual depth was put to really good use. So definitely see it in 3D if you get a chance. So like I said, this was a really solid story. It was a good start because from what I've read, this is going to be a series of 5 films, and it definitely left me wanting more. It wasn't a perfect film in as much as there were times when the plot got a little bit confusing, especially with regards to the villain of the piece. Now, it's the sort of thing that as you're going through the story, you're not quite sure who the villain is realistically. I mean, you've got this dark force that's doing stuff, but it wasn't really a character per se, and there are some shady characters, particularly Colin Farrell's character, who you're never quite sure if they're good or bad. I guess it was sort of like Professor Snape in the Potter series. They kind of had that sort of ambiguity to them, which was good, but I don't know, it just didn't really lend too much to any dramatic dramatic conflict, and it almost became just a story about Newt chasing down these monsters a lot of time. That being said, my god, some of these monsters were so cute, especially the little platypus guy who loved shiny, sparkly things and kept stealing stuff. He was awesome! Aside from that, there were a couple of weird editing choices in the film, including a scene where there was suddenly a rapid cut between two people that I didn't really understand why they did that. But not only that, there was one scene where they seriously broke the 180-degree rule, which in today's world of filmmaking, I can't really understand why people still do that. And for those of you who don't understand what the 180-degree rule is, I'm going to explain it to you using a Terminator and C-3PO action figure.
Yeah, how's it going?
Oh my goodness, a Terminator. What are you doing here?
Yeah, I've been sent from the future to explain the 180-degree rule.
Oh, you mean the one where the camera must stay on the same side of two people having a conversation?
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise it looks like this.
Oh my, that looks very confusing indeed.
I know, right? Yeah, let's say we go get a beer.
Oh, lead the way, T-Dog.
But at the end of the day, look, it was a captivating movie. I mean, anytime you've got a movie about magical, dazzling stuff like that, it's always going to be engrossing and entertaining, and this was no exception. Aside from a plot that became a little bit confusing at times and some strange editing and filming choices, I was overall entertained by Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, and I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. So you know how adult filmmakers are always taking famous movie titles and turning them into adult movies? We all know what's coming, don't we? Fantastic Breasts and Where to Find Them. Am I right? And if you've seen Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, what did you think? Let me know, drop me some comments either here or on Facebook. All my social media links are in the description below because I like to talk about movies and I would love to talk about movies with you. See you next time.
Click subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest movie reviews. Skynet will be taking over any day now, so what have you got to lose? Nyah.